Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's market review session with us here at EasyFX Academy. And straight up, we're just going to be going into the charts to have a sort of overview of what we expect to happen during the course of this week. I'll just add this the restrictions, or rather the shutdown already of the US government already has ended. So we should expect more volatility from the markets, in the coming weeks. So let's just start straight up on gold. Let's start from gold. Maybe I should go to the daily time frame first. Right, so gold daily time frame, I think for the past couple of, this was 11th of November, this was last week, so we've seen bearishness already since somewhere around that time on gold. I do still believe that we should still see maybe slight bearishness, but for gold sell entries, because I think right now I'll be looking out for possible sell entries on gold. For gold sell entries, um let's see. Because already this is giving me the vibe of us having a break and retest of this region, which is already a pivot for us on the higher time frame. Right. So I want to see the possibility of us having uh a sell entry soon enough. Maybe just to be very safe. All right. I would work with this. Not the best though, but let me drop down to lower time frames. So let's work with even now I think I'll be more secure working with somewhere around here. So for the cells, if you're looking out for cell re-entries off of this guy, of this, if you're looking out for cell re-entries, I would advise you to work with 50% of this region, all right, because this is quite large. If you have the risk appetite for it, if you have the ability to take that trade from the beginning of the zone, you can. All right, but overall, I think it will be a bit more conservative for you to work with 50%, all right. But the overall coordinates for the region or for the zone for the supply is between 4181.37 and 4145.52. Basically, what I'm expecting is buy into this region, then we get to see maybe the sell continuation happen during the course of the week. So that is clear for gold. Next up, I'll do AUD card. AUD card, I already had something marked out here, and basically price is very, very close. So there's a possibility for us to see the buys. This is something towards that point. So I'm expecting possible buys from here. All right. Demand region between 0.91293 and 0.91044. All right, that'll be my point to watch out for possible buys very soon, on AED card. And for the TPs, you can maybe work with that previous eye, or maybe if you're feeling it, you can work with this other eye here. I just want to watch out for how exactly it plays out anyway during the course of the week. But yeah, that's basically what I'm seeing right now on AED card. So let's do ADCHF next. And I think opposite to what we just saw on AED card, ADCHF though has been giving us some, as you can see here, we've had at least for the beginning of this week, we've seen not so much movements right now. But I think for the safest bet for the sell continuations, if we're considering this as our last load I was taking out, easily we can plot our fib and just give ourselves a sort of safe bet for this trade. I think for this I'll prefer rather to work with maybe the full region here. Right, so somewhere like this is what I would be watching out for the possible sell continuations on ADCHF. Supply region between 0.52494 and 0.52228. Now that's clear for ADCHF. Next up, we'll do ADUSD. ADUSD, opposite to what we just saw. Something similar to what we saw on, I think, AD card though. Or I do believe we might get to see some buys, maybe, but this right now seems to be the most probable region for the buys. Already though, we've seen trend line support here, and if I thought that trend line support gets taken out, then definitely I would expect liquidity to be swept from there, and then we should get to see a potential break and retest. All right, but trend line support basically still exists. All right, then we also have a fair bit of a rejection candle showing us that there should be substantial force to push price towards the towards the upside. Alternatively, we can use our fib. Let's see if this also correlates with our Fibonacci regions. And from what I can see here right now, it does, from this high to this low. So I think we can work with that for the meantime for the possible buys on AED USD. So we still want to see a drop. All right, again, we have some. I think there's a fair value gap left behind there. Let me drop down to the 2-hour 1 hour time frame and quickly check something there. Right, so let's work with this point here. All right, so basically, demand region for the buy is between 0.64933 and 0.640. Sorry, let me quickly get the coordinates properly. Okay, a minute. Yeah, so 0.64933 and 0.64669. All right, that basically is where I'm expecting the buys to happen from on AUD USD. Next up, let's jump to Euro AUD. Euro AUD. So basically, I have a setup already marked up here on Euro AUD. I do not know if we're going to still see this happening right now with the current price action that we are seeing. But all the same, let's see the possibility for price to give us that pullback during the course of the week into somewhere around here, buy region between 1.76913 and 1.76606 for the buys. If you're entering this, your stop loss can just be a little bit below this low, all right, and then you can work with the previous high as your take profit. All right, but basically something simple like that. I'm just expecting maybe eventually something like this to like this to like this. So that's basically it on AUD. Sorry, on Euro AUD. Next up, let's do Euro CAD. I'm doing my best to shorten the time I spend per commodity so we can just have a lot crammed in, and then everybody can have an understanding of what exactly we expect or they should be expecting for this week. So let me delete this, sorry. All right, so Euro CAD for our time frame, let's see. Straight away I can see this demand, all right, that's resting around here, and I might be sitting on the fence for this region, or rather I would want to work with this region because that seems to be the most recent demand after this I was taken out here, right? After this I was taken out here. So I might just work with that for the meantime. Possible buys, though I am not so keen on this, I would advise you to practice proper risk management if you do end up taking this. But for the buys on Euro CAD between 1.62422 and 1.62178. So we're still expecting the drop, right? And then we get the buys from there. All right, so that's it for Euro CAD. That's it for Euro CAD. Let's do Euro GBP next. I think something similar is what we might be expecting right now. This already has played its role. Definitely we have not the best form of trend line support, but we've had something. We are looking at something. Oh no, not that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Let me quickly see it on 1 hour time frame first though. I won't force the trend line now, but I do feel like there's maybe something towards this end, but not necessarily the cleanest, not necessarily the cleanest. So I might not work with it, but let's just have it anyway. Let's just have it there for the meantime. So there's a possibility to also have the buy continuations right now. All right, this high was taken out here, and so this basically from here to here is sort of our new swing. All right, so that would naturally inform me that we should be working with somewhere maybe around here. All right, but I have an issue with that region because that point looks a little bit too obvious. If you know me, I tend to be more suspicious when I get to see other blocks that are a little bit too obvious. All right, so we have that though as maybe our POI1, because already it looks like we've seen rejection from here. We might still get to see price drop towards this end and just come here for the meantime. But let's use this range, right? So possible buy POI1 between 0.87817 and 0.87635. I'll come again. Possible buy POI1 between 0.87817 and 0.87635. So I'm expecting the drop, something like this. Then for the POI2, I think I'll go to the daily time frame first. All right, because I do still expect us to have that drop. And I want to be careful, like I said. Usually when I get to see this type of other blocks or this type of obvious looking other blocks, so to speak, a little bit more cautious. We might get to see liquidity being swept from maybe this range or that point. So let me see it on the 4-hour time frame. If that does happen, if what I just said happens, then my next POI for the buy would be here, which is between 0.87446 and 0.87208. So what that means is that we'll see liquidity being swept from these lows also, all right, and then we'll get to see price come here. I hope you understand what I just explained. Let me just use the right. So something like this is what I'm saying. All right, for the buys. All right, I hope that is clear on Euro GBP. Next up, let's do Euro NZD. I know we're touching a lot on the Euro guys today, so just bear with us. Right, so for Euro NZD again, buy between buy region between 2.03831 and 2.02708. Again, you can work with 50%, seeing that this region might be a little bit too wide for your account. All right, 50% would be anywhere around maybe 2.3293. All right, depending on your broker, that value might vary. All right, but that basically will be where I'm expecting the buys to play out from. All right, so Maybe that'll be the first one because I do. Let me see on the. Let's check this guy on the daily time frame. Interestingly enough, so I think something similar to what I just explained on. Sorry, so I just explained on. I think that was Euro GBPS. Right. So again, we are seeing something like this. All right. If, for example, that gets old, then maybe, just maybe, we might see price drop a little bit further on the euro pairs. All right. So PY2, which is still quite far away, between 1.98727 and 1.9. Give me a minute. 1.98727 years and 1.97788. All right, but I would advise anyways, whatever trade you're taking, practice proper risk management, one. Number two, by all means, work with your own entry confirmations or your own entry criteria, maybe on the lower time frames, especially if you're a scalper. Seeing as these videos that we usually do are more or less from the swing perspective. All right, so that basically should help you. Let's see, let us see. Yeah, let's just work with those points for the meantime. I think I am seeing this region here, but I am not so keen on it because basically the current movement that we are seeing isn't yeah, let's just leave it as it is. Let's leave it as it is rather. So let's just have that at the back of our minds for Euro NZD. Next up, let's do EU. I'm doing my best to make sure that we do not take too much time on all of these. So Euro USD daily time frame, still seeing some bearishness. I think that started last week or so. All right, but from this region here. So let's see. Possible. I think I'm still going to be bearish. All right, because I don't have any reason to believe that we should get some buys yet. All right, since I'm seeing that we didn't get to see a break of this high here. All right, but all the same. All right, but all the same, let's see the possibility of us having. Now we have this strong support here. So for the sales, all right, I think we might get to see a break and retest if we're lucky on the lower time frames. That's if it doesn't necessarily come up already. Right, if we're lucky, we might get to see a break and retest. And it depends. I just want to see what price action is still going to drop up during the course of the week. All right, but you might want to look out for possible pullbacks into this region here, for example. Or if we get to see something like this, then it's very likely that we should just get to work with. Sorry, we should just get to work with, or we will rather just be working with the sell continuation on Euro USD for this week, or at least let's say between Monday and Wednesday or Thursday or so. But that basically is what I'm currently seeing on Euro USD. I still expect the sales to happen, but remember the idea is that I don't see price still push down a little bit, then we get to see the retest into that region, and then we should get to see the sell continuation. So the supply region that I've marked out here right now is between 1.16144 and 1.15969. I hope that is clear for Euro USD. Next up, I think we can do GJ. I think we can. I do believe we should be able to try our best to GJ. Don't worry. So GJ, basically, we've seen sales. Forgive me. We've seen this rejection from here already. So we've seen that zone sort of hold up once already, and it seems like price has come back towards that region again. This is just one of the typical examples where you get to see that a void is created and then price does its best to fill up that void. And then in this case, the void acted as in a form of demand, and that's sufficiently, at least to some extent, pushed price towards the upside. I do believe we might get to see price give us some more sales from this region. I don't think that this region should be cast away just yet, but we might just want to see this happen. So I want to see a clean sweep of this high. Let me push it towards this back. I want to see a clean sweep of this high. All right, and then I think we might get to see the sales. So something maybe towards this end, right? And then we'll get to see the sales. All right, so basically I'm not going to give you any zone, but the region I want you to watch out for, the resistance I want you to watch out for, so to speak, is around 204.204. I hope that is clear for GJ. Next we'll do GN, and then we'll possibly do GU, and then we'll take just one more commodity and we'll call it a session. Right, so GBP NZD daily time frame, let's see again. Sorry, so GBP NZD, right? So give me a minute, please. So daily time frame, I do think we should continue bearish for a bit. All right, seeing as we've had sufficient rejection from me and price still seems to be pushing towards the downside. I think for now, again, this is one of those cases where you have very, very obvious looking order blocks, right? But I might want to just work with this. It does seem like price has already given us a reaction from there. Yeah, it does seem to. It does seem like that has happened. So GBP NZD, we might get to see the sales from here already. If you're not in already, you might just watch out for lower time frame, re-entries, or you might be brave enough to enter just as it is. But I would not advise you to do that necessarily. Right? But if you have the mind, by all means, go for it. Right? Supply region between 2.33450 and 2.32771. All right, is the region that I'm watching out for. But it's sell continuations right now on GBP NZD. However, if that does get to fail, because I am slightly having the what should I call it? I'm hoping that price doesn't take out that eye before it gives us another drop, because there's every possibility. Let me explain that. Right, there's every possibility for price to still decide to. Let me see. Let me use the line charts so we can mark this out a bit better. So we have this here, right? Let me use this little sort of range that we had here, right? So we've had this. Let me move this now. Wait a minute. Right. So there's every possibility for price to still give us, maybe a slight push again into here, because like I said, this is still, another block, and by all means, there's every possibility for many orders or many stop loss orders to be set around that point. So price could easily, just go for a stop and take out some guys from their trades before dropping towards the downside. So I advise you to be careful about that, or to be cautious, of that. After that, back of your mind, there might be a sweep, right, of that high before we get to see the drop. Or whatever the case is, we should get to see still see sales from here. So if you're already in for the sales, you might just hold that, but maybe be prepared to maybe raise your stop loss a little bit, or you might, if you're not in right now, you might just be you might just relax a little bit and watch out for price to at least come maybe a bit more comfortably into that region before you work for your sales. So that's it for GBP and ZD. Second to the last for the day, we'll do GBP USD, right? GBP USD. So let's go to the daily time frame rather. GBP USD. Oh, easily, simply, I still expect price to buy. So already, we've seen bearishness of this guy. We've seen bearishness of this guy. We might still see that bearishness go on. All right, but for me, from the swing perspective, at least I would want to still see price pull up a little bit into here, which is still fairly far away. Fairly, all right, but anything can happen during the course of the week. Basically is what I'm expecting, right? But let's see. I want to be sure the daily time. Okay, I want to watch out for these 2 points here, which we are already in, interestingly enough. Okay, I'm not so keen on that holding. I really am not so keen on that holding right now. But let's see how this plays out, right? So if you're already in for the sales, you might be comfortable, you might be okay just holding your sales, but conservative sales between 1.33679 and 1.32920. Now when I say conservative sales, I mean if you're at all, you're not trying to risk too much, all right, and you're not trying to be so aggressive with the way you're taking your trades, all right. You want to at least maybe prolong yourself in the game as it was, all right. You might, that might be something you might want to look into. All right. If you're more aggressive, as it was, the more aggressive you are, of course, the more risk there is. All right. So let's work with somewhere around here. That's between, for those who are aggressive already, you're basically will already be in. But if not, this will be your region between 1.33679 and 1.32920. So that's clear for GU. Next or last for the day, let's do your USD card. Let's do USD card. Please give me a minute. Just give me a minute, please. Right, so USD card 4-hour time frame. Interestingly enough, let's see, 1 hour time frame. Okay. So I just want to quickly check something. We might be able to get in for some solid sells. It's just a bit far, but I want to see the possibility of us making use of that to our advantage. Right, we have that there. All right, so for the possible sells, I think I'll just increase this. Again, this zone is very, very, very large. So at the very least, you can work with maybe the 50% of this region. But the old zone basically is around 1.40846 and 1.40553. All right, that basically is what I'm watching out for, possible sell continuations, on USD CAD, at least up to this point, because I'm watching out for the buys from there for the meantime. But yeah, so between 1.40846 and 1.40553 for the possible sell continuation. So you buy to sell is what basically we're expecting on USD CAD. At this junction, I want to say thank you very much for joining us for today's stream. I am sure you have gained and learned a few things. All right, by all means, practice proper risk management as always. Make sure you watch with your own entry criteria and entry confirmations. Don't just take any of the values here at face value. At the very least, brokers might have different values. So please, by all means, go back to your charts and cross check. I'm very sure we're going to have a profitable week ahead. Bye bye, guys. God bless.